I'm Mike AD, and welcome to the Delta League podcast. Delta League, where the action never stops. Now, let's get on to week 5, and we start on Monday in Phoenix, where the rising host, Seattle and Boston. And in this one, to nobody's surprise, Seattle wins it. Seattle 47, Phoenix 32, Boston 19. Now, Seattle almost didn't make it to this game because they were in a bus crash. It was bad enough that the bus was undrivable, so they needed to find alternate transportation to the venue. This delayed the game by at least 45 minutes. Now, Phoenix player Demetrius Lindbergh has found God. He said he was an atheist for years, but now he's a man of God. Still, no Pastafarian convert. Now, well, one player has found God. One walked out to the parking lot to find his Porsche 718 Boxster was stolen. Yup, Neil Laskin's car is gone. They are currently investigating how this car was lifted from a high-security parking lot. I smell inside job. Now, after the game, Boston player Konstantinos Papadopoulos flashed a fan who was jeering him from the sidelines. You know Darcy was watching, and you know what I meant. He isn't a freak. Now, that's gonna cost him. More on this later. Now, I don't know what's going on in Seattle because to me it seems like this team is an unstoppable force of nature, but behind the scenes, things may be crumbling. Now, word is star player Tommy Anastos, 2024 playoff MVP, had some choice words for general manager Bobby Lanzalotta because apparently after the game on Saturday, Lanzalotta was seen hitting on his girlfriend. Anastos took exception, but there's more to the story. After the game this Monday, Lanzalotta was once again seen attempting to harass his girlfriend, but this time Anastos then followed him down to the parking garage, where the confrontation escalated. The two wrestled, and Anastos had to be pulled off Lanzalotta. Word is the last words Lanzalotta screamed were, "You'll never play for this team again," before he was knocked unconscious. Now, excuse me. For Phoenix, leading the way, London Chatbert with 9 goals. For Seattle, it was Laurie Moss with 10 goals. James Korn and Rob Donoff with 9 goals each. And Vlad Millet with a record 28 blocks. And for Boston, nobody mustered jack shit. So, in the end of this one, Seattle picks up the 4 points. Phoenix, 2 points. Boston, nothing. Now, let's move on to Wednesday and Dallas, where the Lone Stars host Vancouver and Detroit. And in this one, another low-scoring affair, but Detroit wins again. Detroit, 15. Dallas, 12. Vancouver, 11. Now, Dallas captain Will Curry was taken down in what looked like a slightly dirty play by Detroit captain Morgan Schur, and the damage is pretty extensive. He's gone for 16 weeks, and his season is history. As a result, Schur got a yellow card. Now, teammate Lucius Floyd also picked up a yellow card for some dirty stuff in this match, along with Dallas player Wesley Jazz Dans, who were at each other's throats all night. That is until everybody's favorite repeat offender, Goldie Crowley, decided to enact her own brand of justice, clotheslining Schur out of bounds into the bench, black card, game, set, and 3 matches for you. She's proving to be more detrimental than Till Phillips ever was. Well, this week, Detroit's unsung player of the year, Felix Kolb, came out and responded to criticism of Detroit's play. That they aren't that good, and they're lucky. Well, Kolb says if anybody wants to challenge me, I'll meet them at center court if they have anything to say. Now, that is GM Mike Facciolo type of player there. Don't like what the fans are saying? Beat the shit out of them. Our players are assholes. Put that on a t-shirt. You know what? Go on Delta League Shop Zone right now and buy our players are assholes or our fans are assholes t-shirts. Available in all 18 team colors. Now, for Dallas, leading the way, Wesley Jazz Dans with 5 blocks. For Vancouver, it was Kofe Dominguez, 18 blocks. And for Detroit, it was Rad Marnane with 6 goals. And in the end of this one, Detroit once again gets the 4 points. Dallas, 2 points. Vancouver misses out on 2 points by 1 goal. 0. Now, let's move on to Saturday, where Washington is hosting Atlanta and Salt Lake City, and this one, Washington wins. Washington 24, Salt Lake City 17, Atlanta 16. During this game, Atlanta player Indigo Bard made possibly the most spectacular goal of the year, through one player's legs, through another, through her own legs, and no-looks it into the goal. That's going to be on highlight reels for some time. In addition, she also picked up a yellow card for her trouble. Now, Free Gilliam, who was a healthy scratch in this game, picked up a black card for rushing onto the court when SLC player Don Kenworthy ran over his teammate and picked up a card of his own. It doesn't end there. Gilliam comes back out onto the court wearing a Delta League "Our Referees Are Terrible" shirt. No idea where he got the shirt, or even if it's even on the Shop Zone. Referee BB Kerr says, "What are you kidding me? Get your ass back to the dressing room." And she probably got the finger, and she gave him the Jesus treatment, because 2 black cards, you're away for 3. Now, after the game, the Swarm came out and said that Kenworthy had concussed himself on that foul. He's going to be out of action for 4 weeks. After the game, Washington player Dave Scarry came out and said his team needs to make some trades. I think every team has some work to do. But before you tell the team to trade your teammates, take a look in the mirror. You scored 0 goals. Now, Washington leading the way, Farley Greenlaw, 13 blocks, and Angel Malloy, 6 goals. For Atlanta, once again, jack shit. For Salt Lake City, also jack shit. And in the end of this one, Washington picks up the 4 points. Salt Lake City, by the slimmest of margins, 2 points. Atlanta, nothing. Now, let's move on to Toronto, where the Towers are hosting Chicago and Philadelphia. And in this one, Chicago wins. Chicago 35, Toronto 19, Philadelphia 17. Toronto captain Travis Valencia got yellow carded in this match, along with Kroll Vitkovich, but Kroll was sent back to the dressing room after intervening on a court battle that spilled onto the bench. Someone squirted him with water, and Vitkovich took exception, and now he's history for 7 days. Griffin Bricker has joined the Psychedelic Club when he openly professed microdosing magic mushrooms. I believe several weeks ago another player also endorsed magic mushrooms to deal with her mental issues. So far, no players have been tripping balls while on the court. Commissioner Darcy DeMello commented that he'd rather have players use magic mushrooms in a holistic way than to get hooked on prescription medications. We've already had a player and an official been sent to rehab. Now, for Toronto, not very frickin' much. For Chicago, Cameron Baptista had 11 goals. And for Philadelphia, it was Jermaine Jardetsky with 5 goals and Lloyd Warfield with 7 blocks. And in the end of this one, Chicago gets the 4 points. Toronto, 2 points. Philly, nothing. Now, let's now move on to Memphis, where the Pharaohs are hosting Montreal and Miami. And the streak is over. Montreal wins this one. Montreal, 31. Miami, 24. Memphis, 18. Now, things just keep getting worse for Lalo Celli. He busted up his kneecap. Then he got suspended until week 10. Now he's blown his ACL doing rehab. That is a 15-week recovery time, which means his season is finito. Now, well, Montreal ended up with 3 yellow cards in this match. One to Bartel Omartian for being stupid, one to Juke Buchanan for being stupid, and the last to Stefan Grice, who pushed the definition of good taste with a ridiculous goal celebration. I'd be happy too if we'd picked up the win after a rough start, but that was ridiculous. Now, then Memphis got into the stupidity with both Captain Khalil Claudel and assistant Alan Adam venting their frustration in a way that almost ensures you will pick up points on your gold card. Dumb. Now, even the coaches got into it in this game. Like Memphis assistant coach Floyd Manheim going after Miami coach Simeon Grande, Manheim accusing the Miami coach of doing the drinking sign. Last week, Memphis coach Ulrich Schultz was suspended for intoxication. That one hit a nerve. Oh, shit. Now we get to John Stein. Christ. This man has been the captain of the Maelstrom for quite some time. And now it looks as though his Delta career is over. Word leaked out that the management team was not too fond of him, but Stein found this out inadvertently when he was in a bathroom stall and GM Rick Dubois and team owner Michael Hanley walked into the men's restroom. Some things were said, and Stein heard them all. And they include, Stein ain't that good. We should leave him unprotected in the expansion draft and get rid of an offensive liability. That they should trade him for Clark Crapo. Afterward, Stein went home, entered his garage, took out a 15-pound sledgehammer, and drove back to the stadium, where he went to town on Hanley's Tesla Cybertruck. Then he went upstairs. He broke into Rick Dubois' office, destroyed his trophy case and his sports memorabilia. It wasn't long before Dubois came back to his office, saw what Stein had done, and called the police. Stein also took a few swings at him, but he was lucky. He had to be subdued. Talk about unhinged. Now, for Memphis, leading the way, Gerard Sredell with 8 goals and Alan Adam with 7 blocks. For Montreal, it was Stefan Grice with 6 goals and Juke Buchanan also with 6 goals. And for Miami, it was Jill Falsey with 6 goals. And in the end of this one, just kidding, Montreal gets the 4 points. Miami, 2. Memphis, nothing. Now, let's move on to the last game of the week, and it's Denver, where the Sky are hosting LA and New York. Now, this one, Denver wins. Denver 41, LA 40. 1 point margin. New York, 26. LA player Frank Viano broke his clavicle early in this one. He'll be out 5 weeks. Clark Crapeau and Bobby Sheffitz both picked up yellow cards in this match. Maybe Clark should get a few more of those. Maybe they'll care about the guy. Now, New York captain Luke Brownlee got shown the yellow card for a breakdown of composure, along with Chucky Sponga, who spent most of the game tormenting Crapeau. Now, LA may have lost this match, but Captain Eric Rob Nicholson definitely put his name in the goblet of fire for Defensive Play of the Year, as he absolutely robbed Alexa Saragosa. Now, after the game, Tully Sykes gave a ridiculous post-game interview where he thanked everyone from Vladimir Putin to the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, interspliced with 57 F-bombs. This is gonna cost money. That was epic and stupid. Now, there was a very low attendance also at this game, and based on the competition, there was no reason why the ticket sales were so low. Still investigating what the hell happened tonight. Now, for Denver, it was Alexa Saragosa, 9 goals. Vince Howitt, 11 blocks. For LA, it was Bobby Sheffitz, 10 goals. And Frank Viano, 13 blocks. And for New York, it was Rock Weinstein with 6 goals and Mohamed Carnasale with 7 blocks. And in the end of this one, Denver gets the 4 points. LA misses out on 4 points by 1 goal. Oh, Christ. 2 points. New York, nothing. Now, let's move on to the standings. We'll start up at the top. Seattle, 20 points. Detroit, 19 out of 20 points to start the year. Unbelievable. Then Denver and Washington, 18 points each. Chicago, 14 points. Toronto, 11 points. Philadelphia, New York, Phoenix, Miami, 10 points each. Boston, 7 points. Vancouver, Dallas, 6 points each. Los Angeles, 5 points. Then at the bottom, Atlanta, Memphis, Montreal, Salt Lake City, 4 points each. Now, let's take a look at the goal leaders after week 5. Up at the top, holy shitballs, Rob Donoff, Seattle, 62 goals. He's 20 goals ahead of his teammate, Laurie Moss, 42 goals. Star Palmer, 42 goals. Cameron Baptista, Chicago, 38 goals. Then we got Mohamed Carnasale, New York, 33 goals. Vlad Millet, Seattle, 29 goals. Elix Henderson, Washington, 28 goals. Amber Tagliabue, Seattle, 25 goals. Randy Magnuson, Denver. Alexa Saragosa, Denver. Travis Valencia, Toronto, 24 goals each. Now, here are the block leaders after week 5. Up at the top, holy shit, Vlad Millet. This guy's on both sides of the ball. Seattle, 44 blocks. Then we got Kofi Dominguez, 30 blocks. Harlequin Butcher, Philadelphia. Jamie Ekstrom, Atlanta, 27 blocks. Alan Adam, Memphis, 26 blocks. Romeo da Rosa, Vancouver, 23 blocks. Reggie Joag Dev, SLC, 22 blocks. Pooh McCarthy, Denver, 20 blocks. We got Kipper Grimmett, Chicago, 19 blocks. Then we got Mike Brenton, Farley Greenlaw, Angel Malloy, 18 blocks each. Now, let's move on to the league news. Now, word on the repercussions from the Tommy Anastos fist fight with his general manager. After the investigation into the events on Monday night, Lanzalotta has apologized for his part in the incident and said the whole thing was his fault. But as a result of his actions, Tommy Anastos has played his last game for the Pirates. The club has suspended him until the mid-season trading deadline where he will be traded. Question is, what GM wants a player who beats up GMs? Now, punishment has come down on the Konstantinos Papadopoulos flashing incident in Seattle. That's going to cost him 4 games and a day in court. Now, word on the punishment of Free Gilliam's foray into stupidity, because he got a single black card, then another black card, in a single game. That's got to be a record, so he will be gone for 4 games. Now, the John Stein meltdown has resulted in Stein being charged with several counts of vandalism, destruction of property, breaking and entering, and assault. Less it to say that Stein has played his last game in Delta League. Now, on to the mailbag. Matty V. Where do you think Tommy Anastos will land? This is the greatest trade deadline in the history of Delta League. I think I may take the day off. Well, I think I'm going to take the day off too. So, well, it's going to be hard to get a 1-for-1 trade for this 2024 Wheel of Fire MVP, because there are very few players at his skill level. Firstly, Bren Breitbart in LA. That's a good trade. I'd make that one, actually. LA is a very attractive destination for Anastos. Frank Viano is also a great trade for Anastos, and he's also in LA. His offensive prowess is very impressive, but he has some discipline and injury issues. Curly Barnabani from Phoenix, that's a pretty good trade as well, but it's going to need an auxiliary first rounder to make it happen, plus Barnabani isn't as dependable as Anastos. Now, Denver has a player named Larry McMaster. He's having a hell of a season, not sure they want to give up a first rounder and their leading scorer for Anastos. Chicago has quite a few pieces that could be exchanged for Anastos, but I think they'd be interested in dealing Captain Doss Hawthorne. I think not. The league's reigning outstanding player, Star Palmer? No. Capron Baptista? I mean, he's having an incredible season. Or Georgios Stokidis. Georgios Stokidis, who's coming this week, is returning to the team to show what a force he can be. But there's all kinds of problems with Stokidis, and they're not on the court. Does Seattle want to deal with that? I don't think so. Rookie Ash Malik from Toronto, great player. One of the league's best young players. New York, but the price is going to be Mohamed Carnesale, which is just insanity. But remember the Griffin Bricker trade. Enough said, right? Put that into a big pot and smoke it. One of those trades is going to happen. Now, Big Tory. What's with all the empty seats? Are people getting tired of Delta League? Listen, we've had 1 game, maybe 2, where the attendance wasn't optimal, and there were reasons for those absences. The venues are running at 95% capacity. Now, there's going to be some teams that have been losing now for over a year. Miami, Salt Lake City, Boston, Atlanta. I mean, so far, attendance has been good. Now, Real Piero Barone. The Maelstrom are back on track this week, buddy. We don't need that bum Stein. We can ride the momentum all the way to the finals. I think Philadelphia is an example of how a team can turn a season around in a heartbeat, and we still have 12 weeks to go. There's plenty of time for teams to turn it around or fall on their ass completely. Now, this Montreal team, even with the stars, is just not elite. They need to make some major changes, or some internal magic has to happen for this squad to win a championship. and I just don't see it. Now, hey, check it out. Now available on the Delta League Shop Zone. Our Fans Are Assholes t-shirt. Or get your very own Our Players Are Assholes t-shirts. Or Our Referees Are Terrible t-shirt. The Thorson jersey selling out quickly due to the fact that he's no longer living. Always popular is Chevy Colella in white. The Harlequin Butcher shred jersey and the Vlad Millet in black is always popular, and the Philadelphia We're Going to the Finals Anyway shirt. And lastly, Miami I Will Die for a Win shirt. Now, let's move on to next week's games and predictions. We're going to start out on Monday with Detroit hosting Phoenix and Miami, and Detroit has had 2 consecutive weeks where they didn't put up much on the scoreboard and still managed to sneak out with a victory. This week, I think Detroit goes down and Phoenix will walk out with the win. Now, on to Wednesday with Los Angeles hosting Dallas and Boston. LA put up some big points last week, and they still had 4 players out of the lineup. I mean, neither Dallas nor Boston have mustered very much this season, which is why the Fallen Angels will come out of this one with the 4 points. Now, on to Saturday, the matinee game where Memphis hosts Vancouver and New York, and this one looks to be the closest game of the week. New York has put up a lot of points despite their deficiencies, and Vancouver looks like they're coming into form. Last week, Memphis burst out and got their first victory of the season. They look for a second straight victory, but the opposition is just too much to bear. I'm taking the Fire Demons for the victory. Now, on to Philadelphia hosting Seattle and Toronto. I don't think the results are in doubt in this game. I think the real question is, by how many points will Seattle win? I say 20. Toronto gets the 2 points. Now, on to Montreal, where they host Washington and Salt Lake City. And I was going to go out on a limb and take the Maelstrom for their second straight victory, but team captain John Stein threw a telephone pole into the wheels of this unhinged criminal rampage last week. Wow, he's not coming back. So, Salt Lake City isn't capable of handling what Washington can deliver, so I'm taking the Power. Simple as that. Now, last game of the week is Chicago hosting Denver and Atlanta. And last week, Denver scored over 30 points and they lost to Seattle. What else is new? Now, Mark Pennell is out for the immediate future, but this team is still running on all cylinders. Chicago is capable of absolute dominance, but recently their lineup was hobbled with suspensions and injuries. This week, 2 of the 4 are back. I'm taking Chicago to surprise the sky plus points. That's it for the Delta League podcast for this week. Tune in to next week where the action continues and never, ever stops. See ya.
This is Delta 2.